Hello, glad you could join me again today. Well, here we are in December, just the first few days in, and we're almost finished with 2024. But we have one more precious holiday yet to celebrate, and one that requires a lot of wise planning. So, have you started? Well, I thought today might be a good day for us to talk about holiday preparation or time management. So, let me ask you some questions. So, how do you approach Christmas Day? Do you just lollygag and stare at the decorations as you wander around town and not have any plan on how you're going to get things done? Or do you panic on Christmas Eve and rush out and try to fight everyone else to get what's left over? Do you put things off until it just becomes such a huge task that you don't think you can get it done? Or do you just go with a wing and a prayer and hope it'll just all work out okay? Well, those are ways to do it, but they really don't lend themselves to a happy Christmas, and it certainly isn't the easiest way to enjoy the holiday. Those last minute shoppers can get pretty aggressive, can't they? And you might get run over, or you might miss out on getting what you wanted to get. So Christmas is one of those seasons that brings so many memories and has such a precious message for us, but it also can create false expectations and even sadness for some people. So planning is always the wisest way to approach the demands of this season. Now we can panic and we can postpone and procrastinate, or we can plan and we can prepare. So let's talk about some ideas for planning and preparing for the holiday. Now for me, I create myself a calendar. I get myself a piece of scrap paper and I draw out the month of December in as big as squares as I can get on there. And then I usually divide the squares into threes, into morning, afternoon, and evening. And the first thing I do is I write on my calendar everything that is non-negotiable that will not change, like church events or work events or doctor's appointments, things that have to happen that month and they will not change. And I write them all down, and then I've got a good way to look at my month. And it really helps me. And I'm awfully bad, though, and I'll give you a little confession here. I'm awfully bad at thinking, well, we've got a church event on Saturday, so I can't get anything else done on that day except that one thing. And maybe that church event doesn't start till 6 or 7 o'clock that evening. So what I'll do, or I tend to do, is waste my time all day thinking that that one event is the thing that happens, and I can't do anything else through that day. But if I look at my calendar and I see I have nothing to do in the morning, nothing to do in the afternoon, I slot myself an hour or so before the event to get dressed and get there. If I waste my whole day thinking about it, I've wasted my whole day. I could have gotten some things done. And so I keep this calendar that helps me to space out my time, if I put it that way, so I actually get something done morning, afternoon, and evening. And I check it every day. And then I enter any new events that happen. I enter my planning if I want to change some things, or I realize I need to do a certain amount of shopping, that I ran out of eggs or something crazy like that, then I shop that in. And I found that I really get a lot of benefit from using home delivery. Here in England, they've got a thing called Whoosh with Tesco, and you could call them and you can only spend like 25 or 30 pounds or dollars, you say, on groceries. It's about 2 bags of groceries, and they will deliver within 30 minutes for 3 pounds for $3. So to me, that saves me a lot of time if I need to get something quickly. But anyway, if I'm cooking for a meal, on that calendar, I mark out the time that I need to prepare or to shop or whatever needs to be done for that meal. If I'm attending an event, I mark out time to shop for a new outfit if I need to travel, or whatever would be required to do for that event. I make sure I allow some time. Maybe it's even just an hour inside that afternoon, or maybe it's a whole afternoon of shopping, whatever it takes to get ready. If I'm having guests, then I mark out time to prepare their room, or to cook them a meal, or maybe even pick them up from the airport. Whatever it is, I do that so that I don't double book things. And I can keep my brain on paper, is what I call it. I do a lot better when I can see what I'm supposed to be thinking. And then I can see what each day needs to have in it. Did you know that you have time to do what you should be doing? I read that in a book called Make the Most of Your Productivity by a lady named Anna Avila. And it's a great little book. It's a tiny little book, but it has a lot of good advice on time management, and especially about our attitude toward it, why we should plan, how we can get the motivation to plan. She's got a really good little book there. She also says, if you don't keep your eyes on the goal, you will end up getting lost. Well, I'd say if you don't keep your eyes on your calendar, you're going to fall behind. So plan out your days. It's a biblical principle, isn't it? Another good book on time management is Life Management for Busy Women by Elizabeth George. I read that one years ago. It's an older book. You can get it very cheaply online. And a book I really enjoyed during the COVID time was a book called The 12-Week Year by a man named Brian Moran. And it really helps you look at the whole year, to divide your year down into segments of 3 months, and you accomplish things every 3 months and you get more done that way. I really enjoyed that book. And another one is More Hours in My Day by Emily Barnes, another really good older book you can get online. All of these books will help us to learn more about planning our time, and not just for Christmas, but throughout the year, because being thoughtful about your time, being a good time manager is a good principle of life. Planning equals productivity, and productivity equals progress, and progress equals prosperity. So make a plan and execute it, and you'll have a much happier Christmas. Another thing that's very important is to create a gift list. Write down each person that you need to purchase a gift for. And beside their name, I usually write down 2 or 3 ideas of things I might look for when I'm shopping for them. And then when I do decide on what I'm going to get them and I purchase it, I mark them off the list. I bring that gift home and I wrap it up right then, and I put a name tag on it. And that way I don't come to the end of the time and have this huge big bunch of gifts to wrap. And I know what I've got for somebody. I can keep track of that way. It also helps me to create a good shopping budget. I think about how much can I afford to spend on each person. How much am I going to be spending on meals out, on clothes or travel costs? I look at the whole of the Christmas thing, even the Christmas meal, and I take time to think through it so I don't overspend. Now, I don't always get it there, but that's my goal, to not overspend on Christmas. So if we can't afford some things, maybe we need to look at some alternatives. Some things you can do is ride share. When you're going to events, have someone pick you up instead of driving, and you'll have a good time of fellowship on the way. Hit the charity shops. It's a great place to find those odd little bits of jewelry, or a top, or a fascinator, as they call it, something that would make your Christmas a little more special. Or even sometimes you can find some wonderful gifts in charity shops. Make a gift, or cook a gift, or even team a gift. I mean, go in with someone else to purchase a gift. Like kids can pool together for their parents, or grandkids can pool together and get one gift for the grandparents. And that will lessen the expense on everybody when you work together on things like that. We used to have a real blast with our kids, and we had five children, and we had a family night every Christmas for several years. We would do this. We'd go to the dollar store, and each kid was given $10 to purchase gifts for their siblings and their parents. So they had $7 in the dollar store, but they had a $3 extra there just in case something was $1.25. And they'd scurry around the store with their little baskets and trying not to let anyone else see what they had in them. We'd help them check out individually so nobody saw what the other person had purchased. And when we got home, they'd run into corners, get their wrapping paper, and they would have a blast wrapping up these gifts. And it was amazing how much fun and happiness they would have on Christmas morning, giving and receiving those little gifts. Pencils and rulers and odd little things that they found at the pound store or the dollar store. And you know, it really isn't the bigness of the gift. It's the love with which it is given. And sometimes we overspend thinking that we have to have the biggest thing out there, when a thoughtful gift means so much more. So carefully consider your gifts, plan them, and stay within your budget. Another expense and time consumer is the meal. So plan that ahead too. Think about what you're cooking for Christmas Day. Don't wait till the day before. Get that turkey ahead of time. Budget it, cook it ahead, and don't let it overwhelm you. When you space out the meal, you can enjoy it so much more. And if there are things that have to be done last minute, delegate. Get some people to help you. Make it a family meal and make it a family time. They won't do it as perfectly as you do, but don't worry about that. They're all just going to eat it. It'll be gone in 20 minutes. And you have time to do what you should be doing. But you won't know what you should be doing unless you have a plan. So don't let your Christmas be spoiled because you haven't thought ahead, or you've driven yourself into the ground trying to do the whole thing yourself. That's not the reason for the season. Plan and prepare. That's a biblical principle. Psalm chapter 90 verse 12 says, "So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom." Number your days. Think about what time you've got. Proverbs 4:26 says, "Ponder, think about the path of thy feet, and let all thy ways be established." And established has the same idea of prepared. It means to think it through, have thought about it, make it established, make a plan. And one of my favorites is Proverbs 16 verse 3. "Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established." I don't know how many times this verse has come to my life. I've even shared it with you in blogs and other things as well. I make my plan and then I give it to the Lord, and then He begins to work. So when I take time to prepare and then I ask Him to bless, then God just meets me there. He helps me see better ways to do things, better attitudes, better outlooks that help me to enjoy the holiday, knowing I've committed my plan to Him, and then He works for me. So plan your holiday. Apply your heart to wisdom and see if God doesn't meet you there. I'll see you Christmas Day. Bye.